The movie truck is setting up inside the theater, it looks like. Well, they're here in earnest now. Big Indy Romantics Incorporated. I Want You Back, a romantic comedy.
Talk to that witness. Here's what he described things.
Just taking the dogs out this morning, heard all the sirens and activity going on, which is a little unusual for this area, and went back inside and kept listening, kept hearing more sirens, and then finally we started hearing some shooting. And we hear that sometimes, people target practice and stuff around here, but we're like, it's a little early to be target practicing, but we heard probably a good 20 or more shots go off. Not used to hearing all that kind of thing except target practice in the afternoon. So to hear shooting in the early morning was a little unusual.
Unusual and unnerving. We've also just been told that GBI will have a representative and that they will be speaking. Obviously, this thing is going to start in just a couple of minutes. We'll let you know what they have to say throughout the morning. But for now, that's the latest from here in Carroll County. I'm Mark Tuckner for Good Day Atlanta. Lisa, back to you.
All right, Mark, thank you. Well, new this.
At this time, one suspect is dead, one suspect is in custody, and 3 officers have been wounded. One of those officers is a Carroll County deputy, Jay Repetto of our agency. He is at Atlanta Medical Center with a gunshot wound to the arm. We also have here Police Chief Joel Richards and Police Chief Mike Mansour. Each one of them also had an officer that was wounded in this event. First, we want to send our prayers out to all the families involved, to those officers that were shot, and for their speedy recovery, and that the doctors would do what they need to do to make sure they get the attention they need. Also, I want to thank so many agencies that came out here to Carroll County for us to make sure that we had all the help we needed. We had, of course, Georgia State Patrol, Aviation, and SWAT came out. Motor Carrier Group from State Patrol, Coweta Sheriff's Office, Paulding County Sheriff's Office, Douglas County Sheriff's Office, Douglas County Police Department, thanks to, and Haralson County as well. And I'm sure there's agencies that I left out that came to us.
The scene to aid the people in both the vehicle that was crashed into and the original group.
The life-saving measures did not work. Wright died there at the scene.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I? Yeah, you should be. Get out.
A U.S. Army lieutenant filing a lawsuit against 2 Virginia police officers following this traffic stop. Happened in Norfolk, Virginia back in December. Army Lieutenant Karen Nazario's complaint alleges the officers pulled their weapons, illegally detaining him, threatening murder, and illegally searching his car. Now, former officer Joe Gutierrez has already been terminated. He could be heard on the video telling Nazario, "You're fixin' to ride the lightning, son." That's a reference to the electric chair. Also pepper sprayed Lieutenant Nazario. An investigation has since been launched. And starting this week, states including
be able to distinguish between those 2 weapons, even under duress, and says the chief should not have described the shooting as an accident so early in the investigation.
She's going to have to be able to clearly articulate what happened where she could not identify the difference between a yellow taser on her weak side and a firearm on her strong side. You don't draw conclusions when you have an outside investigative body that's coming in and you have a community that is already very suspicious of you, and you have a young man that died from a firearm that should have been a taser.
Dr. Alexander, who is also a psychologist, says the spotlight on this deadly officer-involved shooting deals yet another blow to the psyche of those who've just recently watched the disturbing encounter between an Army lieutenant in full uniform who allegedly had his life threatened by police in rural Virginia. Dr. Alexander says this on top of watching and rewatching the video of George
flashbang grenades. Classes have been canceled at a Tennessee high school after a student was killed during a shootout with police. According to officials, officers were responding to reports of a gunman at the Knoxville High School. Authorities said the gunman was barricaded inside a bathroom when they ordered him to come out, but he refused. That's when, according to authorities, he opened fire. Officers shot back and killed him. The student died at the school, and the officer was taken to surgery after being shot at least once in the upper leg. He is expected to recover. Investigators are trying to figure out what prompted the student to take the gun to school and start shooting at police. The shooting comes as the community reels from off-campus gun violence that has left 3 other students dead this year. Egyptian art
Cross party lines to find common ground.
It is clear to all of us what we're seeing and witnessing on our southern borders is a crisis.
This drone video taken today by the Fox flight team near McAllen shows groups of families and kids making the journey here. And when it comes to kids crossing the border alone, the U.S. government encountered nearly 19,000 of them at the southwest border in March, the highest monthly number on record. Still, President Biden's press secretary, Jen Psaki, today says the border is closed and they're turning most adults away. The Biden administration saying that they just struck a deal yesterday with Mexico, Guatemala, and Honduras for those countries to up their enforcement at the border. This as the Biden administration announces a new leader of the CBP, Tucson, Arizona Police Chief Chris Magnus. Live in Mission, Texas, Katie Byrne, Fox 5 News.
Yeah. Once again, double check with Scepter.
For the Rio Grande Valley or
for the entire nation.
the Buckhorn area right here where they come in?
Fox News joined this late-night walk exclusively through the southern Texas brush as part of a congressional delegation. Border Patrol agents telling Congress what they say they're seeing every night.
Oh, yeah, they're
The federal government says there's a more than 240% increase in apprehensions here in the Rio Grande Valley than at the same point last fiscal year.
What's the most striking thing you've seen on your tour tonight?
You know, I think we can really see firsthand the humanitarian crisis that we're seeing across our southern borders. The numbers truly reflect that.
Aside from the massive increase in apprehensions, Border Patrol agents say a major change: many more families.
We've just run into our first families, 3 of them, all with small children, all with just looks of fear and anxiety as Border Patrol encountered them here and told them to go move a little farther down the road where they'll be processed by federal officials.
Specifically, a job for Customs and Border Protection. President Biden has nominated Tucson, Arizona Police Chief Chris Magnus to lead CBP. Magnus is an outspoken critic of President Trump's border policies.
The climate resulting from the current rhetoric and crackdown on immigrants undermines trust, and it poses major challenges to police officers.
The Biden administration is pressing for more funding to address problems in the Northern Triangle, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. President Biden tasked Vice President Kamala Harris to lead efforts with those countries. Republicans are inviting her to tour the border region. Arizona's Attorney General says he's gotten no response.
Look for work, search.
In Mission, Texas, Rich Edson, Fox News.
Coming up on News Edge at 11, she